This podcast is brought to you by Audible.com. Go to audibletrial.com/Bizzarp to start your free trial and get a free audiobook. Again, that's audibletrial.com/Bizzarp.
Bizzarp.
Hello and welcome to the Bizzarp Podcast, episode 21. My name is Davey, and I'm flying solo this week. The other members of our merry band are busy this evening, but you can still come geek out with me. Tonight I'm going to chat about what might be the next big Hollywood fad, video game epics. Then I bring back the segment, Lay You Down by the Hearthstone, to give you my thoughts on Blizzard's big changes. And as always, we'll wrap it up with the geek news. The Bizzarp Podcast is part of the Bizzarp Network. You can find this podcast and other goodies at Bizzarp.com. That's Bizzarp.com. You can also email us at feedback@Bizzarp.com. So, tonight, talking about video game movies. There are a couple big movies coming out that are based on video games. Mainly Warcraft is coming out soon, and that's might be the start of something big. Let's see, it's going to release on June 10th of this year, and I mean, it looks pretty good. I expect to be disappointed, of course, as an old-time Warcraft and WoW fan. I don't have high hopes for the movie because, frankly, video game movies have always sucked in the past. But this looks like they've taken it seriously and put a lot of effort into it. And I do really like that there's not a lot of big-name actors that are kind of dominating the movie. You know, the guy from Vikings on the History Channel is the protagonist. Luther, I believe he's playing. And that's pretty cool. Or Lothar. No. Luther. Whatever. Anyway. Another big movie that's coming out is Assassin's Creed. And that's starring Michael Fassbender. And that looks pretty sick as well. I'm not a big fan of Assassin's Creed myself. But, I mean, Michael Fassbender is an amazing actor. And I really believe he's going to do a good job with that. And these two movies combined, I think may start the next big Hollywood thing, because the superhero bubble is going to burst. I think it's got another couple years of big popularity, and then people are going to start getting tired of, you know, the next Marvel movie, the next DC movie, you know, on and on. And so Hollywood's going to start looking in other places, and video games have huge potential. But we really need to see, you know, how well the Warcraft movie does and how well Assassin's Creed does to see where that goes. Another thing about this topic is there's a rumor that Nintendo and Disney might start a partnership and start doing movies together and, you know, doing video games together, like putting Mickey Mouse and stuff in Disney Infinity and things like that. I think that would be, not that I want Disney to take over more things, but that might be cool to see Disney making movies for Nintendo. Like, why couldn't there be an animated Mario movie? Might be kind of weird with, I don't know if they would have Mario talk or make him a silent protagonist, but anyway, I think that would be cool. And I think this might be the next big thing in movies. So we'll need to see where that goes. Next, I wanted to bring back Lay You Down by the Hearthstone. This is the Hearthstone segment. Bring it back every once in a while when there's a big update or a big change. And Blizzard announced a huge update for Hearthstone coming up pretty soon here. And a lot of things are changing. For one thing, they're doubling the amount of available deck spaces, so you'll have 18 decks available instead of 9. But the big change is they're making it into formats. So for both regular and ranked play, you'll have wild format, which will allow for all the sets that have come out, just like it is now. But then there'll also be a standard format, which will only include cards from the classic and basic sets, and then the last 2 years of releases. And it's going to cycle yearly. So, What that means is, when this releases, Goblins vs. Gnomes and Curse of Noxramas are both going to be eliminated for standard mode. And also, cards that are not in rotation, this is the really weird part, cards that are not in rotation, you cannot purchase with gold or money. You have to craft them with dust. Which is sort of a weird change, but Blizzard justifies it by saying that new players would get confused. Which, personally, I think is a load of bullshit, because any player worth their salt will realize that they just have to read the standard mode and see what sets are available. Or, in the shop, they could do a section that says standard mode, and here's the cards that are available, or wild, and explain it. It seems like a really lazy fix on Blizzard's part. I like the idea of the formats, because Hearthstone is getting bigger and bigger, and there's just too many cards to allow all the sets. Each time they release a set, I understand they have to balance against everything that's come out so far, so it gets really hard for the developers and really hard for players too, because you have everything to be competitive. But I don't know if the wild format will really last terribly long. I think people will focus on the standard format, and wild will just kind of die out, especially when you can't buy packs from the cards that are already rotated out. Now, if you've purchased an adventure that gets rotated out, you will be able to play through it. And the cool thing is, I guess cards from adventures will be craftable. So you'll be able to craft things from Nox and stuff. But again, you're probably going to use your dust for standard mode. But we'll see how that goes. There's also talk of a new expansion with this update as well, which would make sense. But no real word on that. Don't know what the theme is or anything like that. I kind of hope they bring in undead as a theme. I think that would be cool. But anyway, let's move on to the geek news. First off in geek news, Dan Harmon recently announced that Rick and Morty Season 3 is going to air in 2016, which is fucking awesome. I was so worried that it was going to be pushed back until 2017. We have to wait a long time, but apparently Season 3 will come out later this year, and it's going to be 14 episodes instead of just 10. So very exciting. I'm really stoked for more Rick and Morty because I love that show. If you don't watch it, you should. Next up in geek news, Valve recently announced that they are putting out a Portal demo video game, I suppose, for their virtual reality platform, the Vive headset. Sorry, and this is really awesome. Although it sucks that it's only going to be on the Vive headset, because I'm planning on getting the new Galaxy S7, which comes with the virtual reality headset. It'd be really cool if this was usable on that, but I understand the technical aspects won't be there. But it's going to be a demo for the virtual reality headset set in some kind of, they're calling it a pocket universe in Aperture Science. And it's a compilation of VR experiments. So I'm going to post the links to these geek news on the show notes. Check them out, especially the video for the virtual reality test with Valve. It's pretty cool stuff. So that wraps up for Bizzarp Podcast this week. Pretty light episode. I'm on my own, so I'm not crazy enough to bullshit with myself. So we like to end each episode with a quote. Tonight's quote is, "Never judge a book by its cover, a movie by its book, or a video game by its movie." Ashwin Sanghi. This has been the Bizzarp Podcast, a production of the Bizzarp Network. You can find this podcast and others at www.bizzarp.com. Until next time, stay swifty.